Here we go.
Streaming live via the internet. Welcome to ISP Radio, your weekly source for ISP-related news, events, and interviews with industry experts. If you deliver internet via fiber optic, wireless, coax, or any other way, you're in the right place. Chat live with us weekly via ispradio.com every Wednesday at 11 a.m. Central Time. And now a brief word from our sponsors. Link Technology, streaming live, providing ISP consulting, support, and hardware for wireless ISPs. TowerCoverage.com, providing online RF coverage maps. Mimosa Networks, providing high-density, high-bandwidth radio products. Advanced LLC, providing retail and wholesale advanced communication services by matching providers with your bandwidth needs. And by Sitel, providing reliability in surge suppression. And now your host for ISP Radio, Steve Grabiel and Dennis Burgess.
Welcome to another edition of ISP Radio. I'm your host, Steve Grabiel, broadcasting from Moriarty, New Mexico, where it's raining and lightning, so I hope my stuff doesn't get struck by lightning and kill my feed. I got Dennis Burgess, the show's producer and co-host from St. Louis, Missouri, putting on the show and doing a fine job for us. Dennis, you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm always here, as normal, man.
So did you get back to the office all in good shape? I got back here and my network ran, and everything's good. How about you?
Excellent. Everything worked out really well here. Definitely no major issues that I know of. As happens, though, as WISPs, everybody worries about lightning. But, man, come on, you have proper grounding, so you don't have those problems. And you use those wonderful Sitel as one of our show sponsors, so you don't have to worry about any of that lightning issues, right?
Well, it can hit the power grid and then cause me grief that way.
Well, that's what UPSs are for. Blow up a UPS, not the radios, right? Anyway, so we had WISPAPALOOZA last week, and I know you were there, and I was there. Obviously, I was there for. I was in the hotel. I did not get any rays of sun to hit my skin for a week. It was just constant, and it was good. I mean, that's the way it goes. You know, as a board member, as a WISPA vendor member as well. You know, you have a booth. We have all these things. The backhaul bake-off. We had the show. We have reg desk. All this type of stuff that I had to kind of sit there and keep busy on. So it was basically 6, 7 a.m. to midnight every night. As normal as these shows typically are. Absolutely, though, one of the best shows that WISPA's ever had is definitely the largest attended. More vendors than ever before. Every year this show keeps growing and growing. We have the new venue at the Rio. Other than, I think next year I'm going to bring a Segway so I don't have to walk this entire... I mean, it's a big place. But at least everything was right across from each other. All the session rooms was right across from the hall, all that kind of good stuff. So everything was really, really good on the show. I think it was a great event. Lots of great product announcements, things like that. Just some really great information that actually happened. So overall, I think everything turned out really, really good. Today, for those of that are listening, I know we have quite a few of you already on, we're going to have Ryan Rowley from Mimosa talking about some of our, or at least their latest 11 gigahertz product. It looks like Steve lost power or something because we lost him already on the call. I don't know. We'll see about getting him back here. So we're going to talk about Ryan. Ryan, are you there?
Hey, Dennis, can you hear me all right?
I can hear you just fine. I can see you very good as well. There he is, and as we're still trying to get Steven back, but that's okay. So, Ryan, tell us about your latest product announcement. What was the big news at WISPAPALOOZA 2015?
Well, I think at WISPA, Mimosa definitely tried to do something different. Absolutely, we announced a new product, and we can go into the details a little bit later on. I think the other thing that we did that was really unique is we had our CEO as well as the CEO of Quantenna Communications come out and try to give the ISPs an idea of where wireless is going in the future. So I thought that was a pretty neat thing to do. When we started talking about some of the new products, I think B11 was a huge hit, and it was really what the ISPs need as they continue to have more and more congested links, and they need to start moving backhaul out of 5 gigahertz where the congestion is just too bad.
Gotcha. And that definitely happens all the time, is that we get lots of congestion. We get lots of issues where 5 gigahertz is just getting full. And I'll tell everybody this right now. As you get bigger as a wireless ISP, one of the very first things that you're going to do is you're going to change your backhauls to licensed radios. You want to get outside of the last mile spectrum that you play. You want to use the 11 gigahertz, 6 gigahertz, 18 gigahertz, 24 gigahertz, all these other bands, and leave your 5 gigahertz alone so that you can actually deliver to your customers. We see this quite a bit in almost every larger or large-scale ISP out there as well. Steve, it looks like we got you back.
Yeah, my fear was realized. Oh, well, we'll see how well this goes.
Oh, it couldn't have hurt too bad. I mean, a little lightning, lose a little power there.
Blip. Yeah, I think so. A blip in my router.
You know, they make these things called UPSs.
It's got a UPS in it.
Well, it obviously didn't work. Just because it has a UPS means you have to actually plug it in and actually unplug it every once in a while and go, oh, look, it stays up. Otherwise, you sit there and you just kind of goes off.
Yeah. Best practices.
I have a really good story, real quick one, was that this was a long time ago, Novell NetWare server. And we had this wonderful server, these nice little office, and they said this server was the biggest piece of crap ever, yada, yada, yada. It always goes down. Couldn't find the problem. But yes, we seen that the uptime wasn't that long typically. So I ended up sitting there one day, all day, just basically watching this server. And I heard on the other side of the wall, boop, 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 wah. Someone in the break room on the other side of the wall turned on the microwave. And just so happens that was the same circuit that the server was on. Even though they had a UPS, they didn't really want us to test it, of course. That UPS had enough, the microwave had enough draw that it dropped the voltage enough that the server just went boop and just rebooted instantly. So by the time people would get there, they would see that the server's up and running, but it still rebooted and everybody complained about it. It was just one of those little things. So always check your batteries is the moral of the story here, right?
Yes, and put your servers on dedicated power.
Yep, and same thing. Like my desk, I have my own UPS, our switch and router and radios here, all on their own UPSs. I've been sitting in the office before, where all the power is out completely, and I'm still talking to someone. I'm saying, hey, just so you know, our power's out. We're on UPS. Hopefully, it'll come back pretty quickly, and then usually it does. But you know how it works. It's just those little blips that usually get you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway, I kind of introduced Ryan, and Ryan kind of talked about it a little bit, since you kind of feathered off there. Mm-hmm. Where do you want to go with him? He kind of mentioned some new products. We want him to talk about those.
Yeah, Ryan, why don't you tell us about the products that you guys announced and what's going on? You're the product manager of the backhaul group. You're the guru there, and brag a little bit about the bake-off. The backhaul bake-off, if you would.
Sure, yeah. So we were absolutely thrilled when kind of the backhaul bake-off got set up, and we were happy to participate in it. We knew that we were going to do well in some of the technical characteristics. Kind of Mimosa's claim to fame is we provide backhaul point-to-point links, and because we have 4x4 MIMO, what we're able to do is operate on 2 different non-contiguous channels. So we call that channel aggregation, where we can operate on 2 different channels at the same time. Now, what that means is we can use a lot of spectrum where spectrum's available. And so we knew when we were doing testing that when we could use a lot of spectrum, we were going to do very well on the capacity side. One of the things, though, that we were really pleased about is when we started looking at getting feedback from the ISPs. We did very well on our support side and very well on our GUI and very well on our features. And for us, that's something that we work very hard at to have a really easy to use platform. So when we got that feedback, it was huge for us. Now, what we're doing with B11, which I think is really interesting, is we started talking about B11, I don't know, a couple of years back. Obviously, we put in the petition to open up 10 gigahertz. So we started working on a product there, and we're still working on that. And when that happened, we decided, well, let's also make this thing so it can work in the license band. So the product technically can do from 10.0 all the way up to 11.7. Now in the United States, the only thing that's allocated for the ISPs is 10.7 to 11.7. So we're locking the radio to 10.7 to 11.7 for now. But if we can continue to open up spectrum, then absolutely we can open up that lower band. So we looked at the space, and there's a lot of spectrum there, which is interesting. But when we started looking at the space, it was incredible to me what was happening. The whole space was designed for voice application back in the kind of 1980s, 1990s, where everything was designed where you're going to have this to and from at the same time. So it was all for voice calls. But when we were looking at this, we were saying, listen, we want to take a really modern approach, because the networks that people are building out, they're IP networks. Everything is about data traffic. So we try to change everything up so that the radio that we were producing is a radio for the modern network. Does that make sense, Dennis?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we got lots of really good information. I mean, so now all of a sudden we have an 11 gigahertz product, the Mimosa B11. And this was announced at the WISPAPALOOZA for everybody that didn't get to go. If you didn't get to go, you should have went, because, of course, that's the best thing. And actually, I went ahead and tossed it up on the video, the Mimosa website. The B11 is already up there. There's lots of great information. All the specifications are up there. So, Ryan, tell us why this product is going to be what all these wireless ISPs are really interested in going forward.
Okay, so when we started looking at the market, we just saw tons of inefficiencies that were happening when you try to go from unlicensed to licensed. So the whole point here is we think that absolutely you're going to continue to use 5 gig spectrum where you can, and you're going to use point-to-point. So that's why we've continued to build out that product line. It started out a B5, we added a connectorized version, and then we came out with a light version that's low cost. We absolutely think that people are still going to stay in 5 where they can. But in situations where you can't, the congestion is just too bad, or you need higher speeds and you need more reliability, we wanted to help people migrate up to licensed band. When you start looking at frequency, one of the things that made 11 gigahertz very attractive was the rain propagation characteristics of 11 gig is not a huge deal. So you can still go a long distance in 11 gigahertz. The other thing that was very interesting for us is the channel sizes themselves. You could do 80 megahertz channels, so you could use a lot of spectrum, and that's the way that you can get really high throughput. And then it fit very well with the radio that we've been designing. Now, when we saw this compared to other guys, we said, listen, there's existing solutions out there, and I think they do a great job, but there's huge pain points in trying to transition from unlicensed to licensed. And that's where I think Mimosa really shines. So one good example on this is when we started looking at this, you look at spec sheets from other guys out there, and you see this, and it looks like it's one radio that does the entire, let's say, 6 to 40 gigahertz band. But in actuality, they've got tons of different radios. And even within the given 11 gigahertz band, a lot of times they'll have 2 or 3 different models, which is fine. But the problem you have if you're an operator is you want to keep one spare. You don't want to keep tons of different products. So we wanted to come up with a radio that was just one product. It's one unit. You use it, and it works in all different applications. Another thing that we realized is most of the traffic that goes over a network is one-way traffic. So really what you care about the most is being able to have a really strong downlink. So we set up a different mode that people can use if they want that really lets you use all of the spectrum that you've coordinated for downlink, and it can do dynamic allocation on a network. So I think those are some of the big things that we've got going for us, where we can do this dynamic allocation, and also we can do one unit that works for all the bands.
Excellent. So some of the things that I see, first off, for those that don't know, and we're actually showing a little product video that you guys have on your website to everybody that's watching. The B11, 11 gigahertz up to 1.5 gig, and the big thing that we see on this, and this is the thing that a lot of operators don't think, is whenever you look at a lot of licensed band radios, we always see full duplex, and full duplex is good. There's nothing wrong with full duplex, but what really sets this apart is that you don't have to run full duplex. So if you get 1.5 gig and you do the math, you got about 750 or so, 700 meg each direction. That doesn't help us as WISP operators, because guess what? 90% of our traffic is all downstream. So wouldn't you rather get a gig down and maybe a few hundred up? And that's really where this product really, really shines, is that all of a sudden you basically have a gig. You can get a gig to your customers for in an 11 gigahertz license link and do it effectively. So that's really, really, really important. Now, I know it can run in other modes. What other modes can it run in?
Yes, so absolutely, we want to support kind of the legacy FD mode. Now, you have to understand we're kind of doing TD in FD channels. So we set it up so that you can have it where you can operate where it's just, transmit on one channel, receive on the other channel. And we did that specifically because we know in certain situations, spectrum's not available and you need to be a good neighbor. So we can do kind of the old school TD FD approach. The challenge with that, though, Dennis, is that when you do that, you're going to half your potential throughput because you're locking down where your traffic can flow.
Right, and that's exactly what you don't want to do. I mean, whenever we look at as wireless ISPs, we really want that downstream. So let's go over a couple scenarios because I know people are interested. So very first thing, we have two connectors. We have a Ethernet and a SFP cage, correct?
Yes. So you're talking about like the physical network connection.
Yeah, let's start there because I know people are already going to be asking, well, what do I need to do? Everybody's used to licensed radios, especially some of the older radios where we have split ODUs, IDUs, all this kind of crapola. First off, this is really easy. How does it work?
Yeah. So if you don't mind, I kind of want to back up from here, Dennis, and then we'll move forward. So the one of the big problems that you have if you're just starting to get into the licensed realm of things is that the license coordination process is really confusing. If you want to go through, you can read the Part 101 regs, and when you do that, then you can understand it. But if you don't want to take the time to read the Part 101 regs, there's just a lot of stuff that you have to do that you just say, why even do this? So when we looked at doing this, what we wanted to do is from the start make it easy to get into understanding what does it take for me to deploy a license link. So we had an existing design tool. We set it up to ingest all of the ULS data. So now you can start to see all of the different license links in your area. So once you're able to understand, okay, yes, I can or I cannot get a license link in my area, then you can start looking at what radio makes the most sense, and then we can start talking about Mimosa radios.
Gotcha. So you are talking about the coordination feature that you guys have and the design feature on your website. Want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, so absolutely. That's the first place to start. So we call it pre-coordination. What we're doing here at Mimosa is we're not doing the coordination ourselves. We're leaving that up to the coordinators. But what we are doing is we're trying to help ISPs understand where links are available, where spectrum is available, and where you're not going to interfere with other people. So we wanted to make this where it's kind of something that you can do yourself. You can log in, you look at the design tool, you try to figure out, I want to put a link from here to here, and I want to be able to make it so that I can have a gigabit link, so I'm going to look at this kind of spectrum, this kind of channel width, rough idea of what it's like. You put in some details about your link, and then you can hit save and submit to coordinator. And then we push that along to a coordinator. They'll actually do a thorough check, make sure that everything is good to go, and they'll reach out to you directly after that. So we wanted to make it just really easy for customers to understand how to deploy a licensed link and where really to start.
Gotcha. Something that you guys did, and I just tossed it up on the screen for everybody to watch. On the design tool, they have tell us what we're seeing here. You probably can't see it, but I got the design tool, and I have the 11 gigahertz links showing. And the design tool, one of the things that you guys did is you took all these 11 gigahertz licenses, and you put them into a design tool, and you mapped them out. How cool is that?
Absolutely. Well, so when we were looking at this, and just to let you guys know, Dennis, this is the first of many things to come where we're going to try to make this process more and more simplified. So the first step is, well, let's just map it all out so people can see what's in their area. As we go forward, we're going to try to help add some intelligence into this to help people understand, okay, this generally is what coordinators are going to look at. So let's try to give you a better idea of what's going to happen. A lot of times we talk about kind of a red light, yellow light, green light, where green light means it's probably going to go through, yellow light, it may or may not go through, and red light, it's probably not going to happen. So we're working towards those kind of goals to help operators understand really what's available in their area.
Excellent, excellent. And I'll tell you what, the tool is great, looks beautiful, and really gives us a lot of good detail on what's in our area. Should we be able to get a license? Should we not? Etc. And as I said, the whole U.S. is in there. So I'm actually going to zoom out here, and I'm actually going to show everybody. There it is. There's the whole U.S. That's a lot of dots. You go into some of these areas like Chicago and some of these big areas. I mean, it's just solid. It's just a big, solid mass of sites, and I'm gonna just do that real quick. I'm just gonna zoom in here on Chicago, and I mean you can still see there's just absolutely tons of them all over through Chicago, and that's always really good information for every WISP to have. So excellent job. So where do we go from there? So we have the tools. We know if we can get we know we can try to get a license or not. We have the tools to continue on. What's next?
Yeah, absolutely. So once you start to really understand, okay, it looks like I'm going to be able to get a license, then you got to start working with a coordinator, and then you start looking at your equipment and your antennas. So that's where I think it makes sense to start now talking a little bit about the Mimosa equipment, the B11 itself. So the idea here with B11 is we were trying to build a product for a modern network. I look at some of the solutions that are out there, and they're great solutions, but they weren't designed for an IP network. They were designed for these telephone networks where you couldn't have any jitter, you couldn't have any latency. So absolutely, we're focused on really low latency, low jitter, really high capacity. But the idea is we're focused on IP networks, not telephony networks. Does that make sense, Dennis?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so now all of a sudden we have a radio that we can deliver full gigabit throughput. We have the ability to get all that done. So let's talk about what the actual radio can do.
Sure, yep. So because we were able to do it that way, we have a very low cost point, and that's how we brought the cost down. So the radio itself, the way that we designed it is we said the way that the industry is going is it's either Ethernet or fiber. So we have 2 ports on the radio itself. You've got a Ethernet port that does PoE, and then you've got a fiber port. The way that this radio is starting out is it's going to be an either or. So you can either have your data go up through the Ethernet port, or you can configure it to go up the fiber port. So it'll default into the Ethernet, you connect to it, and you can set it up to go over to fiber or vice versa, whatever you'd like. The radio also continues to have the 2.4 gigahertz management radio on it. It has the sync features that are set up with it. And the idea here is when you're able to get these 80 megahertz channel pair, you're able to get up to that 1.5 gigabits per second. So a whole lot of throughput that you can push through.
Gotcha. So very first thing, we have Ethernet PoE. So there's nothing special. We don't have to run a separate power cable or anything complicated. What voltage is it?
So it's going to be compliant with 802.3 AT standards. Our PoE comes with 56 volts, but it'll work with 48 volts. The reason why we have it at 56 volts is just to give us longer cable runs.
Gotcha. So PoE enabled, and by default, the Ethernet port is all you need. So basically, you have in-band management. If you wish to, you can switch to a fiber if that is what you want. And then the Ethernet port still works for the PoE to power the
Yep.
radio. So what's worst case scenario? An Ethernet and a fiber run, or you can just run an Ethernet and have everything over Ethernet. That makes it really easy. Whenever you get a lot of these 11 gigahertz links, we get issues where we have coax runs and stuff like that, and it really gets complicated really quickly just to put in. Now we have just a simple Ethernet cable, so that's really, really, really good stuff for those. What about rain fade in 11 gigahertz?
Okay. So Dennis, I'm sure you've looked at kind of the rain attenuation charts that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you're going to have some rain fade in kind of 10, 11 gigahertz. But you've got two things going for you. Kind of generally, the physics are in your favor. The first thing is the EIRP limitations in Part 101 are very high. So you can power through quite a bit of rain if you need to. And then the second thing that you have is you can use very large dishes to overcome that. So even though rain is a consideration, and we absolutely include it in our design tool, when you start looking at designing a link, you're still able to do these, 20, 30-mile links if you need to.
Gotcha. And that's really, really good. What kind of signal levels are we going to require for that high speed? And your design tool, I do know that with your design tool, we can sit there and design that with various antenna sizes, things like that, and you're going to give us an aggregate rate or a data rate that we should see.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost your question. What was the question, Dennis?
The question is, whenever we use the design tool, we're going to be able to take this link, and the example is that based on this link, we can show what our estimated rate is. Really, the question is what is the signal level that we need to really get max throughput on these? What's our goal signal? Okay,
so that's a great question, Dennis. And really, the answer on this is it depends. When you start moving over to license, a lot of the times the reason why you want to move to license is because you want to sleep good at night, and you want to have tons of extra margin just in case you get some weird rain fade, just in case you have some inversion, just in case there's issues. So I don't want to necessarily say, hey, listen, hit this target and you're always going to be good. But generally, to get highest modulations, you want to have, I generally recommend around 30 dB SNR. So
Okay.
Depending on your link, it's going to depend what kind of signal strength you need.
Gotcha. Not a problem. So let's see here. I thought we had a question here. Let's see if we can find this one. I had a question on the website on our chat. So once you design that link in the link designer, then there's going to be a button that you send it to coordination, and someone will basically get back with them on that, and they can do the coordination there.
Yep. And if you don't mind, Dennis, one thing I'd like to do, we got a lot of questions coming in from people who haven't necessarily done a coordination before. If you don't mind, I'd like to take a few minutes, just talk about it, give some people some high-level overview of what that process is like.
Go for it.
Yeah, so with Mimosa, the way that it works is you design the link up, you submit it to a coordinator, and then what happens is the coordinator, they're going to reach out to you, and they want to just confirm all the details. Because the way that the coordination process works is you can either do a 15-day expedited coordination or a 30-day normal coordination. So what they want to make sure they do is not only check your link, but make sure they have all the details down pat, because if you need to change that coordination during that process, you have to start over from the beginning. So once you kind of do those 30 days, then you're going to file with the FCC, and they'll do that in your behalf. And then they will give you a kind of license that you're good to go to start your construction. So you'll go out, you can set up your link, and then you need to file your construction within 18 months. And once you do that, you're kind of off to the races. The license itself is good for about 10 years. So every 10 years, you're going to need to renew if that's the case. But otherwise, you've got that space, and you're coordinated.
There you go. Nice and easy. I like easy. I know a lot of people like easy. For those of you that haven't done frequency coordination, it's really not that difficult. There are a number of both WISPA vendor members that do that, and I'm sure the coordination tool with Mimosa will probably utilize some of those. I'm just going to give you some rough costs. I always say between right around $2,000 for full licensing, and that's done everything. That means you go get me the license. That's paying the FCC. That's paying everything. So there's coordination fees in there, and then there's actually the license fees that you actually have to get from the FCC. So don't think that I can do it myself and it's going to be a lot cheaper. You still have to pay the FCC that. And there's quite a bit of coordination work. There's a lot of mailing of letters. There's a whole bunch of really, honestly, bull crap that you have to do to make it work. But there's plenty of coordinators out there. It gets done nice and quick. They have that model down and can get it done very quickly for you, which is very, very important. So the next question we got is existing dishes, existing links. I know me and you've already talked about this one, but the existing links, we have an existing radio that is 11 gigahertz. We have an existing dish. Is there a specific type of dish that we have to have? What dishes will it not work with? Things like that.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great question. We've been asked that over and over again. So let me give you kind of high level our strategy, Dennis, and then we can start talking about some of these existing situations. So from the beginning, what we wanted to focus on at Mimosa was providing a turnkey solution, something easy like you talked about. So we focused on making sure that the dishes that we have work well with our radio, the mounting fits all right, the SFPs that we're working with, they all work perfectly with the radio. And so we've kind of got that nailed down. And now we're starting to look out into the industry and see where can we work with other guys to make it more compatible for existing solutions. So absolutely, we're talking with some of the major antenna manufacturers about making an adapter kit and making a adapter mount for some of the new dishes that are coming out, and in addition, for some of the existing dishes that people already have up on their tower. So yes, that's something that we're working on, and I don't want to talk too many more details just because we're still nailing down how that's going to play out, but we're working on that.
Gotcha. So eventually, if they have a dish that's compatible, eventually they'll have some way to hopefully just do a forklift upgrade, replace the radio. Now you can run an Ethernet cable instead of a coax, and bam, you're up and running. So awesome stuff. I'm really glad that these things are definitely going, definitely selling. So what else did you have in the show? Is there anything else that you are particularly proud of from the show?
Yeah, so I mean, when you look at the show, I thought it was a win for WISPA in general. Lots of new faces out there, and I thought it was great to see the companies continue to grow year after year. The kind of backhaul bake-off for Mimosa, that was a huge thing that we were really proud of. In that we got some really good feedback from operators that what we were doing, we were going down the right path. We were providing the functionality that people wanted to see, and we were providing the support that people needed. I think when you start thinking about the other things that we announced, one of them was our cloud solution. So we announced our Cloud Plus, which is, I think, a killer deal for all the operators that are out there. When you look at Cloud Plus, what we're doing is we're saying, hey, we're going to provide a very low-cost solution for any network. So any network, it's $99 a year, or I think $99 for 6 months. And what we're going to do is we're going to provide you with historical data. So you can look back at your network and you can figure out what's happening on all of your different links. Whether it's 5 gig, whether it's 11 gig, it doesn't matter. We're going to provide you with those network insights. So I think that was another huge thing that we got out from the show. Excellent.
Yep. Really cool stuff. I attended your wonderful event. Thank you for all the drinks and the atmosphere. It was a really great event. It was a beautiful. The location was awesome. That what was it? The Voodoo Club on the roof of the Rio is where their product announcement was. Beautiful place. Beautiful view. Really, really good. Steve, you're really quiet.
Yeah, sounds like Mimosa's taken the WISP world by storm, designing a 11 gig product that is geared towards us with some new concepts. This WISPAPALOOZA was a lower cost WISPAPALOOZA for me because I'm not spending thousands and thousands of dollars after meeting new vendors, but I did leave the show, and I just bought a Mimosa 5 gig link that I'm going to implement. But can you tell us a little bit about that cloud-based thing? I did see some of it in action. What is that? Is it going to tell? I mean, is it a website I go to that will monitor that link that I just bought, and it will do historical data and tell me, the noise floor, what channel I need to be in? It's got a spec analyzer functionality in it, I imagine. Just go a little bit more in depth, because I'm probably going to get that link here within the week, and I'm itching to climb the tower and put it up.
Yeah, Steve, if you haven't spent time in our cloud solution, I highly recommend it.
Okay.
I think it's a huge differentiator between our company and other guys that are out there. When we started looking at the industry as a whole, one of the things that we wanted and we knew we needed to bring to ISPs is network intelligence. And that's really what the cloud is starting to provide operators with. When operators are trying to grow, they need a systematic approach, and that's what the cloud is doing. So if you start going into the cloud, absolutely it's going to provide you historical data of what the spectrum looks like. So you can go back a month and you can see what did the spectrum look like. But also what you can do is when you have a problem, let's say it's been happening for an hour or so, you can go back and see what happened at that time. And you can start to make an analysis of why am I having network issues and solve those problems so you can get ahead the next time those things happen.
Mm-hmm. So it's all in the cloud, where that data's there pretty much forever, no?
Yeah. So you have all that data, and it's things like it'll grab spectrum. It'll also grab what's the temperature of the radio. So there's issues on that. It tells you your MCS level, so modulation rates. It's going to tell you throughput. And the other cool part is you can compare one radio to another radio. So you can take a look at that. Now, so those are some of the different cloud features that are offered on that.
So let me ask this question. The cloud solution is really good. I've been using it on the B5s for a while now. They work really well. Gives me a lot of great data. Going back to the B11s, and the B5s are all GPS synced. What about GPS in the B11? Does it need it? I don't even know.
Yeah. So Dennis, the way that this works is when you coordinate, you don't need GPS sync, but when you want to start to co-locate and put lots of devices right next to each other, you're still going to be interfering with yourselves. Now, the way that the rules work is you absolutely can't interfere with other people, but if your coordinator is okay with it and you're okay with it, you could technically interfere with yourself, so to say. And if that's the case, then you'd want sync to be able to have all these devices co-located.
Gotcha. So there is sync on the B11?
There is sync on the B11, absolutely.
And of course it works, right?
Yep.
So a question is, what's the connectorization to the dish currently? Is it like an in-male connector going through a short coax whip into your dish assembly?
No, so it's a very different connection to the dish itself. The way that it works, it's a direct slip fit. So this is not terribly uncommon, but literally the dish mounts into the back of the antenna.
Yeah, kind of like what we see with other licensed providers.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
Gotcha.
it's no different than any other, not necessarily any other, but it's no different than many other 11 gigahertz or other licensed band radios. The big thing is, I think the little bolt pattern is a little different, and depending on the dish, some manufacturers are designed to work with this dish versus this dish, things like that. And what we're going to see is adapter plates and other ways to be able to mount that radio into that same waveguide, and that way you don't have to worry about it. So you're just putting it right up there, minimal loss, no cables, connectors, or anything like that. You just pop it on, bolt it down, tighten it down, and hopefully it's already your dish is already aimed, so you should just get a link, nice and pretty, and then you go, oh my, I just went from 350 meg to a gig downstream, right? That's really the beautiful.
Simple, Dennis.
Yeah. You have to keep it simple, and there are dishes that as a Mimosa reseller, just so everybody knows, Link Technologies obviously is. We do have dishes that are coming out. It's Jaris, right? How you
the Jaris dishes.
Jaris. I can get I'll eventually. It probably has a little apostrophe above the S or some goofy thing like that, but The Jiris dishes are they're coming in already. We're already starting to see those. There's a number of different models, and they're really not horribly expensive. I mean, you can get really, really, really expensive in the 11 gigahertz dishes. But I'll tell you right now, like 3-footers, I think are coming in under. I think it's either $4.99 or $5.99. I think they're $5.99 retail, so they're not horribly priced when we look at those things. And those are designed for the Mimosa, so they'll just slide right on, and you don't have to do nothing. But there's a lot of people out there that's going to be wanting the mounting plates and the different options, because they already have dishes. They don't need to put up anything else, or they don't want to. And this is going to be, for wireless ISP operators, literally a forklift upgrade. And instead of you replacing the dish and replacing all this gear, now you're just going to take off your old radio, put a new mounting, maybe a new mounting plate on, and then slide on the new radio, go to the other side, do the same thing, and bam, you're up and running. And hopefully your network's routed, so whenever you do that, your network reroutes around that 11 gig link that's down. Okay, and maybe it's slow, but then as soon as you put it back up, wow, look at my speed again. So really good stuff as well. Steve, what else you got here? I'm gonna go check the messages and make sure I'm not missing anything.
This sounds like of course, depending on dish size, dish is the big driver here. To me, turnkey with coordination and everything, it sounds like a possible under 10 grand license link. Is that? Could you?
Oh yeah.
Say that, Ryan?
Oh, absolutely. Definitely what we're trying to do here is all in, make it a very compelling solution, because remember, if we can't get the pricing set up the right way, then people aren't going to want to migrate over. And what we want to do is help operators have more stable networks. So we've got to give them that capability.
Mm-hmm. So I'll toss this out there just because everybody's interested in pricing. Because I do have a couple of questions here, some transmit power questions, things like that. I can tell you right now, with 3-foot dishes, I think they're 900 millimeters, so roughly 3-foot dishes or so, not including shipping, including frequency coordination, we can get you done under $7 grand.
Holy cow!
So, it depends on the length of your thing, and if you need big dishes, then those cost more to ship. But now we're really looking at that. And just so everybody knows, Link Technologies, as you know, is a Mimosa reseller. I already said that once. Shameless plug. I apologize, everybody. However, we are taking pre-orders. And what we decided was it's a $400 pre-order deposit. And that basically reserves you a pair, not one, but 2 radios. So as soon as they come in, you'll be ready to go. And right now is actually a really, really, really great time to start looking at this. Because think about this. Most of your frequency coordination, 30 to 60 days is usually a good number. And we're in the beginning, late October here. You reserve your radios now, get some dishes, and by the time everything comes in at the late this year, in December, probably late December, somewhere in there, hopefully, all your frequency coordination will be done. You'll be ready to go and put up a link. Ready to go. So as soon as they come in, it's just the perfect timing, because by the time you get your frequency coordination done, you'll about be receiving the gear. So it's an absolutely perfect time for you, if you're interested in starting to put up 11 gigahertz license links, if you've never done so, or just upgrading. It's a perfect time to get that done and to start on that process, especially if you do not have a license already. So really, really good time. It worked out, if you know what I'm saying. So, and keep in mind, we toss out numbers all the time, but let's just say it's 7 or 8 grand. You take that number, and a lot of people don't think about this, okay? A lot of people don't think that, licensed radios are so expensive and all this kind of good stuff. But you take, let's just take 7,500, and you take that and you divide it up over 36 months. That's only $208 a month that you can sit there and lease something like that and have a $1 buyout at the end. And it's just another monthly bill. It's just like if you buy a vehicle for your business. It's the same thing. You're making a monthly payment. And it's very important to look at it that way. A lot of people are just going to buy them outright, which is fine too. A lot of the leasing companies, you can sit there and do 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, you name it. But you're getting a full gig, basically downstream, plus some decent bandwidth upstream if you design if the link's designed right. So look at that. look at the pricing on that. So now you're at, let's just do 7,500, and you divide that by your gig. I mean, it's only $7 a meg to transit it. Plus, you still have upstream speed, so it's actually it's even cheaper than that. Really good information, or I think that's good information. But for people that are really looking to get that bandwidth out there, that's the hard part, getting it out to your customers. That's the most expensive part typically. This is it.
And demystifying the licensed spectrum. We've had some people on our show that do coordination and the like, and it sounds like, Mimosa's taken the bull by the horns here and really made it simple or simpler for us to grasp the concept. It's not hard to do. I've done 2 license links in the past year and a half, and all because of doing this show and going to WISPAPALOOZA. Prior to that, I'd be probably out of business because my 5 gig spectrum's all gobbled up, and hearing a $7 to $8 grand link, that's easy to dovetail into a lease for sure.
Yeah, and you look at the past history. Usually you're over 10 grand, and now we're down at 7 or 8. We're doing really good, and as the market continues to push manufacturers to do more, this is what we're going to continue to see. I do have a technical question. The transmit power on the B11.
Yep. So transmit power, my recommendation is I wouldn't plan on anything more than 24 dBm max power of the radio. It could go up to 27 if it had to, but my recommendation is plan on 24.
Excellent. So that's a really good piece of information. 24 dB. I had another one. I'm trying to look for the dang thing.
You might have already answered this, but when is the anticipated rollout date for the product?
Yes, so absolutely, we're still focused on shipping it this year. Whether it's kind of December, early December, end of December, we're still working through that. Probably a lot of you guys have seen that we've already started kind of getting our PCNs out for beta. So that's happening. We have a fairly large alpha network, and things are looking really good. So it's going to happen this year.
Sweet.
Yep. And like I said, man, you sit there and you think about it. I can do my frequency coordination now. At the end of the, by the end of the year, first of next year, I can have a new 1 gig license link, really, really, really quickly. So definitely coming around. How's that?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is something that has been a long time coming from Mimosa, and I think as an industry, we've got to start kind of migrating in this direction to provide higher speeds and more reliable networks for all of our customers. And as we do that, we're going to continue to grow. And I look forward to seeing WISPA continue to develop out and grow in numbers, and also the existing members to continue to grow out their networks.
Excellent. Well, I don't see any other questions on our chat. We have quite a few people already on there. I'll toss that out there. We're kind of wrapping up the show here. So if you guys have any other questions live anyway that you have, if you want to know if this radio, any technical specifications, a lot of that stuff is already on their website, just so you know, mimosa.co. You can definitely see that. But if you have any other questions, please go ahead and toss it out there. I did get one for you, and I know you're going to give us a roll your eyes and go, well, I can't really say, even if I did. Does Mimosa have any other license bands coming?
I think on our video we say this is the first of many solutions, and that's how I would look at it. Absolutely, yes. We're looking at other license bands. We're looking at lots of bands. What I will say is, depending on the band, you're going to see a different type of application. So what we want to do is use the physics of a given band for a specific type of application and make sure that our radio supports that type of application.
Excellent. And they actually said, another person says ACM. I have no idea what that means. I'm sure maybe someone does.
That's I think a SAF thing.
It's a SAF
something,
thing?
Something modulation.
It may be about adaptive modulation.
That's the only thing I can
If that's the case, absolutely we do adaptive modulation on ours. So if you look at some of our PCNs, you'll see that we kind of have a modulation scheme up from kind of BPSK all the way up to 256 QAM.
Okay, so and the max modulation is 256 QAM?
That's correct.
Okay, excellent. That's definitely something else I've had people ask me about. Steve, you have anything else? I think we plugged Mimosa enough here.
Well, no, I think it was great having Mimosa on, and when I was talking to Jim at the show, he says, you guys got to get Mimosa back on there because they got a great product, and I think we've hammered it. I just want to talk a little bit about the show in general, or do you want to hold off till next week to do the WISPA show roundup, if you will?
Oh, no, I mean, if we have anything else, I mean, we got another 10 minutes. Unless Ryan wants to say anything else, we can always talk about other products and other things we've seen at the WISPAPALOOZA show as well.
No, I mean, I think we're good. I'm happy to answer any questions about B11. I would say at Mimosa, one of the things that we're striving to do is be very responsive, provide a whole lot of support. So if there's any other questions that come in, feel free to contact me directly or contact support. We really look forward to working with the different operators out there to build out successful networks.
Wasn't that one of the awards you won at the Bake Off as the superior customer service?
Yeah, we did. I can tell you guys right now, when we started looking at the different awards, the customer support, the features and functionality, that award, both of those were huge for us as a company. It's something that I can't tell you how many hours we spend as a company in general pouring over our GUI, providing really good support and trying to make sure that not only do we provide great equipment, but we also provide the other intangibles that make a network operator have a network that runs smoothly.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have a question on the chat, and I'm just going to read it how it's written, because I do not understand the question. So maybe Ryan will.
Sure.
Why is your stability figure so dang high? It's like 100 times more better than the other licensed radios.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know what this variable is, because obviously I'm missing something.
Sure. So when you do a PCN, there's a stability number that comes along with it. And yes, our radio has a very high stability number. There is a reason for it. You have to understand the approach we are taking is a very different approach to building out licensed equipment. What we are doing is we are taking the existing Quantenna chipset, that's a 4x4 chipset, and we're taking that base chipset and putting it into licensed bands. When you do that, if anybody's tried to just take a general Wi-Fi chipset and move it into a band, there's tons of problems that you run into. And when you look at Quantenna's chipset, it's a whole nother animal, because Quantenna isn't kind of the general anybody's Wi-Fi. You're talking about 4x4 in one single stream or in one single chipset. So what we had to do is we had to put an OCXO on there that could keep everything very, very precise. The challenge you have if you don't have that kind of stability and you're operating on those wide channels and with all of those different streams is you're going to get drifting happening on your data transmission. So we had to have a really high stability number in order to ensure that when a packet leaves our radio, it arrives at the perfect time on the other side. Does that make sense, Dennis?
It does. It does to me. All right.
I think ACM is adaptive coding modulation.
Yeah.
Yep. So the adaptive modulation.
Yeah. ACM, it's just kind of a different. It's just adaptive modulation.
Right.
So.
I think we should do a WISPAPALOOZA wrap-up maybe next week, because we're almost out of time, and I think Ryan has really explained his product. I'm really pleased that he was on the show to announce this. I might be starting to talk to my leasing agent and my coordinator to see how I can... This show's cost me more money than anything, I tell you.
Well, Steve, if I can kind of talk a few more minutes about a few things that just popped into my head.
Sure.
Oh, be my guest.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the cloud side, I know we talked about that. One of the things that I wanted to mention is absolutely we have kind of this Mimosa cloud. I know that some operators have some concerns about wanting to also host the data locally. So if they want to use SNMP or something like that, we absolutely support it where they could double home it, so they could push data up to the Mimosa cloud, and they can use SNMP to have a local management system. So I want to make sure that people understand we're not saying that you must do this. This is an option, another kind of tool in the toolbox, so to say. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is on when you're starting to coordinate the spectrum. I know there's been a lot of questions arising about trying to do this TDD inside of FDD channels. What are kind of the pros and cons and benefits? My general approach on that, and my general take is, where there's spectrum available, you want to use the spectrum. So we're trying to help operators use the spectrum most efficiently. In situations where you don't have that kind of spectrum availability out there, one of the things that I would mention is we support smaller channel widths. So if you can't do 80s, we can do 40s. The 80 gigahertz or the 11 gigahertz band, it doesn't have 20 megahertz channels. It has 30 megahertz channels, but you could put a 20 megahertz channel inside of 30. And also we have our TD FD mode, which is kind of the traditional license setup. So if you don't want to do the double coordination, then you can do that as well. So we're trying to provide operators with a whole lot of flexibility, but also trying to keep the product fairly simple.
Excellent. So we did have one more last question here before we let you go. We see a lot of modern radios running 1024 and 248 QAM.
Yep.
You're only running 256 QAM.
Yep.
What's up with that?
Yeah. So
more bang for your buck.
Here's my general take. We absolutely looked at kind of doing the higher modulation, and I think in many situations it makes a lot of sense, especially in short distance links. The 11 gigahertz band is really designed for longer distance links. I mean, if you look in the FCC Part 101, there's a minimum range that you've got to have, or else you have to drop down your power levels. So absolutely, I would say we're looking at future bands. We're looking at bands where maybe you really need and can use that higher modulation. And in those cases, absolutely, we're looking at having higher modulation radios.
Gotcha. So you're not saying that you have one, but you're not saying that you won't have one.
That's right.
Kind of
like he said, we may go into the other spectrums, we may not.
I mean, I don't want to give away everything. All I will say is that B11, I think, is a great solution, especially for these kind of mid-range to longer-range links. I think we're going to come out with some killer solutions. Definitely some awesome solutions in other frequencies and for other applications. And I would say stay tuned, because this is only the beginning.
Excellent. Steve, you want to wrap us up and we'll get out of here?
Yeah, I just want to thank Ryan for being on the show, talking with Ryan with Mimosa, the rising star in the ISP, wireless ISP space. I'm looking forward to getting my product and getting it out there to see what it'll do. But again, thank you, Ryan. Dennis, thank you for producing the show and co-hosting it. And folks, we will talk to you next week. Next week we'll do our WISPAPALOOZA wrap-up of what we saw and what was cool, and come up with some new ideas for shows down the road. So, guys, thanks a lot. Have a great week, and push those bytes as fast as you can.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you for listening to ISP Radio. We hope you've gained new insights and additional wisdom in our industry as well as your business. Please remember to visit our show sponsors via the links on ispradio.com. If you're interested in becoming a show sponsor, contact us at sales@ispradio.com. Now go out there and push those packets as fast as you can. Good luck and Godspeed.